Welcome back, folks. You're in the cipher once again with the Podheads for another session. This time, we've got a real special guest. As you can see behind me, a classic right here out of Central Florida, Luchador wrestler extraordinaire, Rios Badu, the Oracle, Jay Rios, whatever you know him as, he's here.
I'm just trying to be a good guy, man. What's up, y'all?
What's up, man? So, what's been up with you? How is COVID-19 affecting wrestling right now? What are you up to?
Ooh, man. It's I keep anytime everybody keeps asking me like what this has done to me, and I mean what it's just done to life in general. Like I don't know if y'all follow or like went throwback episodes of like I Love Lucy, but like I'm a huge I Love Lucy fan, and oh hell yeah, man! There was like a particular I Love Lucy episode where they're on a train, right? And Lucy, you know, being her and her devious self, getting into her, you know, usual Lucille antics, sees like the emergency cord, and it says, you know, in case of emergency, pull. Well, she pulled it once, and the train came to a screeching halt. You know, and everybody went flying forward. People dropped everything. People fell on top of other people, and like literally, when they announced like this whole thing, that's what I feel like what happened to the world. I feel like this is literally one of those years where it was on the brink to be something so spectacular for so many people that have been putting so much work in, man, because I can speak for myself, but I know that there's so many other people that have been putting in so much work, and that this was going to be a year for so many of us to finally showcase it to the world on a grander scale. And that train that we were on came to an abrupt halt because there was this metaphoric redhead that got herself into some trouble.
Look at Lucy, I tell you,
all
man.
of us, Lucy. I told you not to pull this.
The fuck did Ricky say? What's his catchphrase in that?
You got some splaining to do.
Exactly. See?
Yeah, 2020 has been rough on everyone, but I think that one thing that sticks out above everything has been the wrestling industry, right? We saw WrestleMania this year in an empty performance.
Crazy, right?
Yeah,
Crazy.
that was like, I've seen every WrestleMania. That was very weird for me. What is there? How much is a crowd playing to, you know, wrestling?
Oh my God, man. So to say it's jump on to your guys' part where it was very weird, to no avail. WWE and what they're known for is creating history. And on that night, above all else, whether it was our cup of tea or not, they created history. They went on with the show. A lot of people objected and protested against it, and there was a lot of people, you know, that were somewhat appreciative because it still gave them an outlet. It gave them a form of entertainment. And honestly, guys, it's entertainment, and what it does is it distracts us from regular life. From that moment, while we're watching Raw, we're watching SmackDown, we're watching 205, we're watching any form of wrestling, we're being entertained. And what's going on at home, the personal issues, the things that are going on around the world, the madness that is 2020 and what was a buildup to this year, man, for that small portion in time, fans are not. We were able to take our minds off of the craziness.
Yeah, they were definitely one of the first sports to come back in, so I definitely give them props. But you know what? That was the WrestleMania where like Gronk was in. Yeah. And I was just watching it, and it felt weird. It's just the word that I can. Just because you can tell that he needed that pull from the audience.
Right?
Yeah. That's so definitely. I mean, he's that loud personality. Y'all. I mean, like if y'all have seen him in interviews and things of that nature, you know, we would be listening to these interviews, and there would be a lot of people that I had firsthand in training that came from the NFL and that wanted to join wrestling and that paid for the Patriots at one point and had very good tight relationships with Gronkowski, you know, and they're like, yeah, man, Gronk was the dude, you know, that if it wasn't football, it was probably going to be pro
party
wrestling.
Guy,
yeah, man. And like, he's that dude, you know, you see him on the field, you know, he feeds off of that energy. So for a lot of guys, I think for that night, especially for the guys that are going to be making, you know, that moment for that next chapter, for that next phase in their careers, like a Drew McIntyre, who is finally going to win the big one at WrestleMania. And you usually, you know, that's the that's the happily ever after and the beginning to a whole new chapter, you know. And when people are there, especially WrestleMania, I don't know if you guys have ever been as fans. I was fortunate enough to go as a fan in Orlando, WrestleMania 24. You know, I brought my dad to that WrestleMania. It was something special for him and I, because he got me into the whole wrestling thing, man. And just being a part of that vibe, whether you're a fan, whether you're a wrestler and you're doing this for a living, you can still watch WrestleMania. I know I do. I know I watch WrestleMania. I know I watched the Royal Rumble. Y'all, I am 31 years old now. I cried like a baby when Edge made his return at Royal Rumble.
Oh, of course.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Holy, not only was it storybook type stuff that, you know, at one point you deemed impossible. It was like, holy crap, like it took the wind out of your sails when he retired. And then like you're watching Royal Rumble, you're like, oh, we're gonna be the surprise guys. And then you hear that
music.
I got chills right now. I did the entrance. I had tears coming down. The air was taken out of me, man. It was special. So for me, WrestleMania is special, and for guys like that are at that level, it's special. And I definitely feel that something was taken from them from that moment, but no less and no more, they still created history, and nobody can take that away from them. I won the big one at WrestleMania. Which one? 2021, but you know, it's a little crazy, but you know, hey, it was the beginning of what it was. And
I definitely get it, but I agree with you. I felt terrible for Edge and Drew McIntyre because those were big moments. You know, it was the first for Drew McIntyre. That was a big deal. Edge, that big comeback, coming back to WrestleMania, and you know, that whole storyline. It just sucked. They're not being able to be fans. You've wrestled everywhere from, you know, little bars to I've seen you in arenas. What does the crowd mean to you? Is it a big difference to you, or can you grind no matter what, or do you really feed off that energy?
I remember my first show, like my first show ever, as like a trained professional, and to me, the fans are the ones that create that energy in your stomach that doesn't like it wipes out the butterflies that are in your stomach. It like you got dragons that are breathing fire that are flying viciously in your stomach, especially on your first one. You're like, I don't know if I'm gonna do this, and you go out and you're like yo, for me, my first time ever going out there, like I remember hearing the music that I had at the time. I honestly can't even remember what I used for like my first entrance song, but like I came out there and I just heard the people, and upon hearing the people, like there was like maybe 200 people in this building, and I was like, yo, this is dope. Like this is my first show. This is incredible. And like everything just went quiet. And I'm like, I remember just going through the motions. I'm like, high-fiving people. But the only person's face that I saw was my mom's, who was standing in the front row. Like that was the only person's face that stood out in that whole mat. Like she was my calm. Yeah, it sounds corny as shit.
No, it makes sense.
Makes sense. That's my mom. And like when I saw mom and she gave me that hug, you know, I still tried to play it off, you know, like I'm a pro wrestler now, but and like she calmed me down, and I was able to do this, you know, and fast forwarding, you know, I'm 11 years active on the independent scene, 12 years overall with training and everything, and the crowd is something special, y'all. Like the crowd makes or break you. The crowd are those people that are there to give you that appreciation. Like, if it wasn't for them, why continue to do this? But at the same time, something I feel, and no disrespect to the crowd because I love them, but at the end of the day, if you have passion that is just like pouring out of every fiber and every crack of your body, and that is your passion, fans or not, you are going to deliver. I've had some of my best matches in training in front of students, in front of nobody, in front of no camera, only for myself and for my best friend to remember here and to hold that here. And we could talk about that, and we can go back. Like, yeah, remember we beat the shit out of each other in front of nobody? We weren't even getting paid for this. you know. But it's one of those things that the fans and everything, it's a beautiful feeling. But if you have passion for this overall, you'll do it no matter what, you know.
You know, we had a rapper last episode, and he was like, you know, he has friends that just get into it and like, oh, I'm not feeling the fans, or I'm not feeling the love, or whatever, and then just get out. And I said, you know what? When you stick with that, that means you're a professional. In this case, the same thing. Yeah, the crowd is important. I mean, WWE to me showed that the crowd to me was important. But these professionals, they're pros. Like this is their job. This is their dream. They're coming out
1000%.
and still making history. You said it. I mean, that match was dope. You know, their job is to tell a story from the moment their music hits, from the moment they walk down that ramp, from the moment they step in between those ropes, from the moment the ref signals for the bell and it goes ding ding, and to the moment that finish happens and the ref's hand counts that final third, that 3 count, and he cues for the bell again. As long as it made sense from the beginning to the very end, and as long as they created a story and they took us, the fans, for a ride, a roller coaster ride of emotions. Their job is to create emotions. Not a lot of people can do that. Yeah, it's art, right? It's art. It's like watching a play, you know, unfold. Yeah. You know, when you watch a really good one, like you start crying.
It's like an opera.
Yeah. Guilty.
Right there, he admitted it. He admitted it.